I only buy the finest TV, sister. See, UPF.
BOPF is indicated on the pack.
Sister, the art of tea.
50 years ago, a small-town pastor who had risen to national prominence in the US as a leader of the civil rights movement announced a dream in Washington.
His was a common dream, a dream of freedom, equality and justice for all.
50 years later, has Dr. King's dream been realized?
Let's take a look.
Born as Michael King Jr. on the 15th of January 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, to a reverend and a schoolteacher, Martin Luther King Jr. was a middle child. In 1954, he became a pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Alabama, where Rosa Parks was famously arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white man on a bus. After Parks' arrest, King came to national prominence in the US. He was a leading figure organizing the boycott of buses in Montgomery by African Americans. By this time, people were wondering if King was qualified to be the national leader in the 1960s. That changed in 1963. King reasserted his preeminence within the African American freedom struggle through his leadership of the Birmingham campaign, where he was imprisoned and held in solitary confinement after defying an injunction against protests. Writing the famous Letter from Birmingham Jail, he set out his reasons for action in Birmingham and elsewhere. After his release, King became stronger and more resilient, staging marches in Birmingham with the support of thousands of students and school children. Success in Birmingham provided further impetus to the movement spearheaded by King. This culminated in the massive March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom on the 28th of August 1963, exactly 50 years ago. The stage was the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, a tribute to President Abraham Lincoln, who a century earlier had set free millions of black slaves in America through his historic Emancipation Proclamation and abolished slavery in the U.S. through the 13th Amendment to the American Constitution. In the shadow of this great American hero was born a hero for the ages. Over 250,000 people were in attendance at the Lincoln Memorial when King delivered his speech, "I Have a Dream." He predicted a day when the promise of freedom and equality for all would become a reality.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
The rising of civil rights agitations produced a strong effect on public opinion. Martin Luther King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in recognition of his status in the civil rights movement in 1964. Sadly, King's tireless dedication to the black cause, his moral stand, and religious values was soon to cost him his life. In Memphis, Tennessee, in America's Deep South, one of the world's most outspoken civil rights campaigners, the man who championed millions of black Americans, was targeted by an assassin on the 4th of April 1968. King's assassination triggered riots in about 100 cities in the US. The country had lost not only a dynamic leader, but the world lost a righteous soul who was muted forever. 50 years on, the principles articulated in Dr. King's historic address stand firm. The world's morality was recalibrated and given a new true north. To this day, Dr. King's fight for equality and justice rings true not just in America, but across many nations.
But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get there.
While America has seen its first black president take office, much of the rest of the world awaits Martin Luther King's dream of equality and justice to become reality.